Do you have any idea what Ironman you're gonna do this year?
I have exactly what idea.
Day 1 of testing. How you feeling?
Not too bad. Probably a little shocking actually, even though it's not as hot as usual here. Coming from 68 degrees and no humidity down in the basement to, I don't know, I think it got to like 86 yesterday with modest humidity, so I definitely can tell I'm a little bit taxed even after an hour of exercise, or 2 hours exercise yesterday, but fortunately these workouts are at Ironman race pace, which Ironman race pace is pretty slow when you do it staggered or not together, so it shouldn't be too bad, but we'll see. Can I get an earring now?
You can just borrow one of Aaron's.
All right. Well, that's good for warm-up for me.
Like normal. I wanted just to see where you were at during the warm-up. So.
237 watts.
Yeah. Budgie smugglers. They Gatorade. They got a logo.
Am I not going to be able to?
And they got a big G on that. They got a big G on that.
How much do you weigh?
I don't know yet.
Want to take a guess?
Oh, 166.
You'd have to do the math. Right?
Don't show that because then I'm going to have to change my Zwift weight because I'm 1 kilogram over what my Zwift weight says I am.
Okay, you're done.
You're a little chubby.
320 watts, I should make it to the turnaround, and I mean, unless it's ridiculous wind.
Right, you stay there.
Can you give us a brief demonstration on what this test is and what you're doing?
So what we're going to do now is we're going to be fitting a sweat patch on Lionel from Gatorade that will allow us to capture information on the actual rate of sweat and the actual sodium losses whilst he's riding at an intensity that's appropriate for the race. And with that information, we'll then be able to plan a lot more accurately any sort of fluid and electrolyte needs for the race.
And I already pre-weighed in, and now we'll ride, and then I'll weigh in at the end and find the sweat loss.
Why do the sweat patches have to go in these locations?
So Gatorade have done testing on looking at like sweat rates in a lab environment and using different body sites. And in terms of back calculating of whole body sweat rates, the 3 sites that they said work best in kind of order are forearm, and then shoulder, and then calf. There might be a little bit of variance depending on the sport. But yeah. Interesting. So, you know, because you can put it anywhere and measure the sweat rate, but ultimately you want something that's a decent reflection of the whole body, because some places you tend to lose heat more. We're just going to record the environmental conditions as well throughout the ride, so we get some different insight to, you know, the conditions relative to race day.
$320 watts for 2 hours. See you later. How you feel? I mean, it's January. I'm trying to push basically 70, you know, a pretty good 70.3. So it feels like it's January, and I'm trying to push a good 70.3 in practice. Do you have any?
How did you feel? How'd the rest of your test go?
Not too bad. I held the average at this stage. I rode an hour and 48 minutes. So we'll be able to get some good data off of that. And now I'm going to weigh in and see how much weight I lost. I was on pace to drink, I would have drank 4 bottles in 2 hours. So that means in the race, for the next 2 hours and 15 minutes, I would have been able to drink 1 more bottle. That's what I did for the rest of the race. And I'm thirsty. So stupid. All right.
$72.65 kilograms, which in old money is double around 10%. So
And what's your BMI?
I have no idea.
Pounds about.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's go one because 73.3 is 163, so it's about 160.
Yeah.
And I started off at what?
You started off at, you lost 2.1 kilos.
Drinking this in the race.
Yeah.
And would have lost, I mean, probably over, because we're only at an hour 48.
Hour 48.
Yeah, and the race is 4:15, so 4.5 pounds. So again, is 9 pounds plus another approximately, yeah, but probably a good solid 10 pounds lost just on the bike in the race last year.
And your lactate was 1.5, and your warm up it was 1.4.
But what about at the end there?
At the end there it was 1.5.
Oh, because that was like, I did actually like stop and you picked me. How fast does that clear out?
Not that.
Not fast enough?
Not nowhere near that fast.
I was averaging 320 watts.
So what does that number mean? That it wasn't that hard for him?
It was getting hard, but
I'll need to when we do the test later in the week, then we'll get a better sense of where his lactate threshold is, and then that will give you a reference point. But I would still say ballpark, you weren't working excessively hard.
if you're going to hold that for an Ironman and then run 248 off of it,
hard.
you better damn well. Well, it better not be hard.
Yeah.
Lionel is really, I think the bike is something that Lionel doesn't necessarily struggle on. I think that he's always found that he also needs to limit his losses as far as nutrition. And I think that this is something that David is really wanting to help out on as far as nutrition wise. So we did a series, or not we, they did a series of tests as far as like lactate, as far as nutrition, the sweat patches that Gatorade Endurance provided. I think that they're really just trying to figure out Lionel's losses as far as what he's losing. And a lot of people will probably argue like, what's way cooler at this? And I think that Lionel's done these tests before. He did them in the Gatorade lab, mocking the Kona conditions. And then this is something that he wanted to come out here on the racehorse and do. And I think that it's something that him and his coach are discussing doing again actually in September. So they'll kind of have 3 different data points that they can work off of and kind of like analyze off of. So of course, in this video, they basically, on 2 different days, because they didn't want to do it on the same day, Lionel rode the first half of the course, and then they got all the data points during that.
Yeah, exactly. And then, and that context is, hasn't evolved in 2020. So, you know, it's a good wetsuit.
La cucaracha. Please, never again. What's today?
Friday.
What's on tap?
Second half of the bike course. We will, instead of just driving all the way back into town, we want to experientially, the climb up and down from Hawi is experientially valuable, so we'll kind of start in Waikoloa, drive up to the turnaround, back down, and then wherever 2 hours gets us. We're also starting later in the day, so it's going to be quite a bit warmer, and that's what we're kind of looking to see, is how that increased temperature, what role it plays in sweat rate on the bike.
Well, what's the wattage going to be? Target?
320. I just did that for 2 hours on Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday. So, we'll see.
What are you doing right now?
I just warming up because to keep the test accurate, we want to weigh in right before we start the 2 hour 320 watt interval. And I won't be able to take my race suit off because I'll be all sweaty. So this allows me to get my legs warm, towel off, weigh in, then put the race suit on, then ride for 2 hours, take it off, weigh in again, and just get right into it right when we open the car door. Attempt by mile in 2017 was my best, and I was bankrupt by, let's say, 15 miles. I was bankrupt, and that's when Patrick started putting a minute per mile into me.
Well,
or right around a minute per mile.
Why didn't you just pass go and collect $200?
I tried.
Do you not think that you could have just done this testing in a lab?
We already did this in a lab, but here it's so much more valuable, I think, for several reasons. The psychological aspect is now I've done the race and said, oh shit, I did something wrong, right? But now we know exactly what's been going wrong, because we've come here and actually calculated in the situation. So,
and you've got the argument that the environmental conditions now are not quite as bad as October, and that's true, but it's not like you're dealing with the difference between a Colorado winter and a Florida summer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's
a couple degrees. It's 86 degrees
couple
outside
of percent
right
humidity.
now.
So, you know, it's much easier to draw corollaries between the two.
But the big one, I think, is of course is the actual having the hard data in the place. We can now say for certain that if you push this much power, and it's a little cooler now than it will be in October, and you drink, as I did in a race this previous year, 5 bottles, we can tell you pretty darn accurately how big of a deficit you will come off the bike with, and how much, if you run and consume 1 bottle an hour on the run at the pace that, well, every year I've been completely bankrupt, as you say, so have not actually run very fast. But if you actually were still in decent shape and ran a modest pace, now we can actually say to, let's say, 95% accuracy what your losses will be, what you will weigh in at the end, and then you can use that data now however you want. If you want to still consume 5 bottles in 4 hours and 15 minutes on the bike, then you know that you're going to be down about 10 pounds at the end of the bike, and you'll be going into the death zone by, well, at least before 10 miles on the run, you'll be in death zone. And unfortunately at 10 miles, really the race is just starting to begin here. And to think that you're going to be able to slog it through death zone, and death zone is 10+% dehydration, under the Kona heat, on this challenging course, well, it's not going to happen. If it could have been mentally pushed through, I mean, I'd have finished a lot better last year. But unfortunately, it's a biological limitation to prevent you from killing yourself. And had the race been another 10 miles, I probably would have killed myself. So you can do what you want with the data, but now I think the big component is we have, from the situation, psychologically, there's with absolute certainty, if you consume this much, that's how dehydrated you'll be. And so you decide how much you want to consume based on that and based on when you want to go bankrupt.
What's your first race of the year, Lionel?
As of right now, I'm thinking it's going to be the Zwift National Championship.
When is that?
Usually it's like the third weekend of February.
What about first triathlon?
Probably Oceanside 70.3.
Do you have any idea what Ironman you're going to do this year?
I have exactly what idea. St. George.
Can we make that public now or no? Lionel?
What?
Can we make that public?
You guys can do whatever you want.
Is it hot now?
That's just great.
Is it hot?
It's Kona hot now, baby.
Yeah. How do you know?
Because my feet were burning on the pavement, just like they were when I projectile vomited and fell over in 2019 and wanted to just lay there on the pavement, but had to get up because it was burning me.
Oh my God.
Is there a third bottle made up already?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Absolutely horrible.
You feel your legs do?
Yeah.
Are you gonna be able to hold 350 going up? 320?
I'm at
370. He said 370 this morning.
A few moments later.
What movement was that?
That's like I'm directing a plane landing. That's about 2. Take care of it.
If you want to sit on the back, we got all your stuff back here.
Tough to do this camp in January.
How are you feeling right now?
Tired. Wear and tear. Just a lot of race pace. Race pace stuff.
Are you over it?
Huh?
Are you over it?
It's January. I mean, if it was easy in January, that'd be a big problem, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm on pace for like a 4:05 Ironman split, so.
What were you thinking on the end of that bike?
What a waste of time this is. I should have just stayed home. It's all just about keeping pace. I mean, your sweat rate's your sweat rate, right? So it's like, just try and limit your losses.
Did you dump one of the bottles into the bottle on the front?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Josh Hamburger and this slide just watching the Lionels. That's about all I have for you. I shaved my mullet and mustache, and that's about it. Wow. What a place to be weighing in and not in a Speedo.
Indeed. Kind of dangerous too. Guys are coming by 70 miles an hour right now.
Did you learn anything today?
I learned that this is a hard course. I don't think you'll kick yourself for coming to this course in really good bike shape. I don't think you'd be like, damn, I wish I'd eased off a little bit on the bike training, put a little more into the run training. Because it's a hard bike. I mean, it's a hard bike. It's pretty mind-boggling, actually.
You feel like you could win Kona this year?
Don't piss me off.
With your education, how you started off this year, do you feel like you can go toe-to-toe with Jan?
I have one goal and one goal only for my life, and that is to put Jan under pressure in some way, shape, or form. That's my life goal.
Life goal? So what happens when you accomplish it?
Take out darts, I think.
Lionel really hasn't taken his nutrition to the next level as far as data and scientifically and using I guess the more scientific approach. Something that I've kind of, I guess, have said before on my own terms is I think Kona is a race that can, in the years past, be won on hard work, but I feel like in today's terms it needs to be won on hard work and science, and I would say I'm a firm believer in that, and it's really cool to see Lionel taking more of a scientific approach, I guess you would say, with David as just like, I mean, Lionel described in the first video, if we didn't have David here, we would be completely lost. David has been kind of a miracle as far as Lionel and kind of just knowing this entire process, and the information that he gets out of this camp will be very interesting to take back home and kind of look at and analyze. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. It's always good listening to Lionel kind of on his rants after his workouts. I know that his mind really explores what athletes' mind doesn't explore when they're out on long rides and stuff, whether it's work or whatever it is. But I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and I hope you are enjoying the series so far. That was the bike course dissection of the video. So next week we'll kind of dive into the run, so make sure you click subscribe and stay around for that. Mahalo, thanks for watching. Man, I was trying to interview myself for the series videos.
Boring.